On Radio Wales, the story of Ceridwen Hughes from Mold. She's using photography to show a different side to her 8-year-old son Isaac, whose rare condition means she's never ever seen him smile. Isaac has Mobius syndrome, a condition that causes facial paralysis, which means he can't smile, can't move his eyes left and right. But with the help of lottery funding, Ceridwen has set up a photography company called Same But Different, a non-profit group using the arts to combat prejudice and raise awareness of disability. Ceridwen is in our Wrexham studio. Morning, Ceridwen.
Morning.
When did you first notice Isaac's symptoms?
When he was 1 day old, we knew that there was something not right because he had problems feeding, but it took another 8 months to get a diagnosis.
And how rare is it?
Oh, it's really rare. I mean, you're probably talking about 1 or 2 people a year born with it.
And how did you feel when he was diagnosed?
It was just really... It was nice in one way to get a diagnosis because we'd had 8 months of not knowing what it was. But at the same time, when you're told that your child's got facial paralysis and other issues and that, there's nothing you can do about it, then that's really, really difficult.
Yeah. And how does it affect your day-to-day life?
Day to day, it's quite different now because he's 8, but it's been a long journey. He had very low muscle tone, and that meant that he wasn't walking until he was 3.5, and then it took until he was about 4 before he could walk unaided. His speech is limited, but that's improving now. But it took until he was about 7 before he could say even a word. And obviously with the facial paralysis as well, you don't get the expressions that you normally get.
Does he go to school?
Yeah. It doesn't affect you cognitively. That's one of the difficulties, in the sense that people make assumptions based on the way that you look and the way that you act. And people assume that he must have learning difficulties, but he doesn't. He's just like any other normal 8-year-old boy.
And how do the other 8-year-olds interact with him?
They know that Isaac is Isaac, and despite the fact that he has very limited facial expression and also his speech was quite limited until recently, he could still joke with the best of them, and he's a really cheeky, bubbly little character, and he's got lots of little friends.
Yeah. What about the health professionals? Do they know enough about Mobius syndrome? Have you had enough help on the NHS?
To be honest, with any rare condition, the problem is, and especially with conditions like Mobius, where there's only 1 or 2 people a year born with it, it's very difficult for the medical professions because they don't come across it very often. But it is quite isolating, and we've got a fantastic supportive team around us now and brilliant consultants at Alder Hey. But when he was initially diagnosed, we were just given the name, he has Mobius syndrome, there you go. And we had to find our own consultants and call up and speak to them to see who'd ever even treated somebody with that condition before. So it is very isolating.
So that's quite daunting. And interesting that you had to go to Alder Hey in Liverpool. So there isn't enough in North Wales for you?
No, Alder Hey's the closest children's hospital. So, yeah. It's a really, really good place, and they've been fantastic and supportive. I think the problem is with rare diseases in general, because of, by the very nature they're rare, it's very difficult to get the right level of support and to have a whole team approach.
Is he a happy boy?
Oh, he's a very happy boy. He's bubbly, happy, independent, all those things.
Bless him. Is it true that when Isaac was younger, there was a situation in a ball pit where some mums moved their kids away from Isaac?
Yeah, it's very difficult because, he does look different, but he's just a normal little boy, and he was probably about 3, and, he was just playing in a ball pool, and some mums just went and scooped their children away as if it was something contagious.
But how do you react to that as a parent? That must make you really angry.
It's anger, definitely, but also, I suppose, in a way, it's sort of sympathy for them because they miss out on getting to, their children interacting with other children who are happy and fun. And I think that's why we set up Same But Different, so that people could feel that, they could get past the barrier of seeing something different as being a threat.
Yeah. Oh, bless him. And Isaac features in this project, Same But Different. What motivated you to set this up?
Well, because we recognise that people do feel, sort of sometimes nervous about how they react with people when they have differences, or, they just don't know how to deal with it. So what we wanted to do was remove some of those barriers. So through the arts project, we've have portraits of people with rare conditions. And hopefully people think or see them and think that they're beautiful portraits and want to know more about the person behind the condition and not just the condition. So we really try and capture people's personalities.
Yeah, and Isaac is featuring in the project as well. He must have been excited about that.
Yeah. I mean, he really likes the fact that, he's there and out there and sharing his story.
Yeah, and what sort of response have you had?
It's been really, really positive, really positive. I mean, just as an example, one of the mums said that when her child was initially diagnosed with a rare disease, she was, she found it very, very difficult to cope with the fact that she was going to have a child with a disability. But in time, she realised that that was just part of the story. She had a beautiful daughter, and she just wanted people to be kind. And she hopes that through the Rare project, people will realise that that's all they need is kindness and understanding.
And where can my listeners see these photographs right now? If they're sitting in front of their computers or their smartphones, or if they want to reach for their tablets, where can they go to see these photos now? They
can go to samebutdifferentcic.org.uk. We also have a Facebook page of the same name, and we have more and more stories coming every day, and people are taking part. It's an ongoing project.
Yeah, I can imagine. And were you a photographer?
Yeah.
Right.
My background's marketing as well. So
it's perfect then. It was a perfect fit then. And you got the money from the lottery funding. How did they get involved?
Yeah, I mean, they've been fantastic, because without them we couldn't do what we're doing now. And also with the Genetic Alliance UK have been really, really helpful as well, because they're an umbrella organisation of rare disease charities. So thankfully to the Genetic Alliance and also the big lottery, it's been brilliant.
And do you think we're getting better, Ceridwen? Do you think that as a nation we are getting better to understand disability and raising awareness? And not being afraid?
I think the problem is that it's almost a double-edged sword. Yes, people want to know more, but they don't know how to do it. And these days, it's so politically correct. You think that if you say the wrong thing, you're going to upset somebody. So in some ways, it's almost like you're building a barrier there as well.
Good to talk to you, Ceridwen. I wish you the very best, and send our very best wishes to Isaac. Thank you very much indeed to Ceridwen Hughes from Mould.